All right, thank you so much again for joining to our podcast, Marine Plant-Based Podcast. My name is Alisa Miki, and today we would love to introduce Sarah. Sarah, how are you? Where do you base?
I'm good. So we are based in Australia, in Melbourne, which is like the other side of the world from you guys. But yeah, like Melbourne got 4 seasons in one day, and very lucky at the moment it's sunny. So
I envy you because I actually live in LA right now, but it's these days it's so cold, and I'm looking for like a warm, sunny, country. So I
yeah.
definitely need to go to Australia. So please tell me more about yourself. So what is your company, and then could you please like explain about your company and your background, everything you want.
Mm. Yeah, so I started a company back in 2017. Actually, today is our 6th year and 2 days. So I started it on my 30th birthday. So 2 days ago, it was.
Congratulations!
Thank you. So before starting this brand, I was a diet. Well, I still am a dietitian, but that's my background. So I was in private practice, seeing people with all different type of conditions, chronic and acute conditions. But at some point, after doing it for maybe 6, 7 years, I realized that I want a bit of a lifestyle change. I still love the fact that dietetic skills are so diverse. You can do different things with it. But my passion is in culinary nutrition, is in cooking, is in teaching people how to how to use simple ingredients to enhance the skills, and so that they can look after themselves by cooking simpler food, healthier food. You know, and I just really love the practical side of things. And my belief is that, you can write so many meal plans, give so many recipes, but it's actually better, more effective if you do the doing. And I need a platform. Like I didn't really want a cooking school, but then I want a platform to help me do that. And I thought, okay, well, what about a food product? Food product was a great idea because I'm always drawn to beautiful packaging and, dream about one day having my product on the shelf, in supermarkets and health food shops and things like that. So I thought, oh, that might be a good angle and, a good, career path to pursue. And Seaweed wasn't the first idea that came to mind, but the idea came back to going back to the type of patient that I was seeing, and what kind of conditions that need more attention to, and what kind of things that people are not really aware about. And by default, a lot of people come to see a dietitian for weight loss because that's people do. They see dietitian and think that they're going to give them like a magical meal plan and off they go. But I know deep down that losing weight is not just about diet and exercise. There's so many different factors to it. And I do notice that a lot of my patients that came to see me have a thyroid condition. So, when you have a sluggish thyroid, your metabolism slow down, you feel fatigue, and, your extremities get cold and that sort of stuff. Um, and that got me thinking, hey, how come so many people have thyroid issue? And I guess, that is the brand was pretty much a sort of stem from like a nutrition direction where, okay, well, so many people have thyroid issues. What about iodine, which is a very important mineral for thyroid hormone production? So I looked into the status of iodine deficiency in Australia. And I found out that, oh, okay, we are a mild iodine deficient nation. And particularly, this is for the general public. And more to that is that, when you're pregnant or when you're breastfeeding, your iodine requirement actually increased, double. So if the general population is not getting enough iodine through their diet, there's no way a pregnant woman or a breastfeeding woman will get enough unless they fortify it or unless they supplements, right? So I guess that's how the brand started. Okay, people are low in iodine. What food is high in iodine? Okay, seaweed. Does it fit the bills of, nutritious, delicious, and sustainable? Yes, yes, and yes. And I can sort of see that it is a food that is going to be a little bit more mainstream because, in Australia, we're slow at everything. But obviously, seaweed farming and seaweed cultivation has been going on for a long time in Southeast Asia, but I can also see a lot of activity going on in America and also in Europe as well. So I thought, well, it will take time, but this seaweed farming is growing, and the awareness of seaweed is growing. The whole sustainability side is growing. The nutritional benefit of seaweed awareness is growing. Eventually, it will trickle down to Australia. We will finally get it. So, I mean, I just have to have the patience to start off something and give it some time and do the education, and we'll be right. Being first few into the market and things like that. Yeah, and I guess that's sort of how it started. It was just from like a simple idea. I'm just going to use a bit of Australian seaweed that we're able to source, put it into little jars, turn it into a condiment, and then take it to the farmers market to see what happened. Because I mean, at that point in 2017, a lot of people think about seaweed is just in sushi. When you have those conversations and go, oh, have you had seaweed before? Oh, yeah, I had it in sushi. Or and then and that progressed to maybe a couple of years later. Have you had seaweed before? I was like, oh yeah, my kids love those nori sheet snacks and things like that. And then now progress to 2023, people will be like, have you had sushi? Have you had seaweed before? Yeah, I have it in sushi. I have it in poke bowl. I put it in my ramen. I put it in kids' lunchbox and things like that. So I can see that the awareness of seaweed have increased along the way. Anyway, so go back to the product. So we just sort of use seaweed as a condiment, so people can just sprinkle it like a furikake style seasoning. We launched it, and then in 2018, I had my first child, so I put the business on hold for a little while I found my feet. And then in 2019, we got a couple of really good opportunity into getting finalists into pitch competition, and we were a winner of one of them. And I guess that sort of give me some momentum to build on the brand again. In 2020, during COVID, we pretty much stopped the brand and really go back down to building the brand from the ground up, from, how we source the ingredients, what kind of product, what kind of format, from the branding and logo. We actually rebranded during that time, and we will launch again in 2021, which is the Algseaweed that you see today. So we launched in very small batch in 2021 from where we are now. We were now in, Australia is very small. So, we're in about, 200 supermarkets along the eastern seaboard of, Australia. We're in about an extra 100 of health food shops and, small shops. And we also supply to food service, restaurants and hotel groups and bakeries and things like that. So that's where we're at.
Wow, though, congratulations on only like 2 or 3 years. Once you relaunch and you have that massive success, that's amazing. So what's the biggest tip that you expand your business? So like
what's the biggest
tips or any hints? Because as a startup, doing a lot of negotiating with a lot of retailers, it's a lot of another headache because they have a new regulation and a lot of like rules. Do you know how do you open that door? Was there any great, I don't know, maybe good, is there any people who you met, or is there anything that you work hard?
Yeah, so I guess the rebrand. One thing that attract a lot of retailers to start off with is our brand new color palette. So I usually have a really lovely pink shirt on, but for a seaweed brand that is pink, like green, yes, is almost like a given. All seaweed brands have got like a bit of a green in it, but have a really differentiating color palette. I think that helps. People, oh, what is this? So generate a bit of interest. And so that is really good. In terms of help, we did a couple of accelerator program, and this particular one that we did last year actually have relationship with major supermarkets. So that really helped to have that relationship. So when they are ready to, look into new innovation products, we were front of mind and we submit our form, and that was sort of how that happened. And I guess the tip being, I'm not sure in America, I'm sure that
everybody wanted to listen more, business to it doesn't need in Australia,
but
just
then
in general.
Yeah, but in America, I'm sure that there's more seaweed brand compared to us. But then in Australia, we are one of the first few in the market. So I think that uniqueness and first to market will, get picked up by a supermarket and say, hey, I can see that the seaweed trend is going and it's growing. This is a special product that we can offer to the customer. I think they probably like that angle. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So for the packaging, you said that you chose like a pinkish color. Why did you when did you the idea came up?
Well, we've got a really talented graphic designer that did all our branding. So she actually went through like a competitive analysis, looking into what the seaweed brand is doing out there, where they sit in like a from an innovation point of view, from a branding point of view, and where's the gap, and that's sort of where she identified it. Okay, well, you can sort of play in that the gourmet, and obviously it's just my personality as well, being pink, I love pink and just something a little bit different. So it was through, competitive analysis and find out where's the gap in the market that we can play. Whether it's super premium, super gourmet, or sort of where does it sit, where we can fit in. So I think that's sort of where that comes from. Yeah, so I think she's done an amazing job in the branding.
That's great. So how much do you sell for the retail right now?
Yeah, so we currently our core range we call the rainbow seaweed. So the rainbow seaweed is a trademark that belongs to our company. So the rainbow seaweed means that there's 5 different types of seaweed in there. As you'll be familiar, there's so many different types. So we've got Atlantic nori, Atlantic sea lettuce, Atlantic dulse, wing kelp. And also Tasmanian wakame. So it's the 5 that we make it a blend and we call it rainbow seaweed. So that's our pretty much core range. There where we have like a pouch of 40-gram rainbow seaweed flakes that sell in supermarket and retail store. They retail for $16 Australian. So that would
That's
be, I
like
don't
a
know, maybe
middle
like
range or a little bit, not too high end, but it's a kind of a middle-ish range.
from a middle high, I would
Middle high.
say. Where it belongs in the supermarket is in the gourmet section. So
Okay.
it is definitely sort of that. I don't know how much is it converted to American dollars, like $10. I don't know. And our shakers, which is like a salt and pepper shaker type, they're about $10 retail, and they're 3 flavors. So one is like a furikake seasoning, where we don't use bonito because we want to make it plant based, but when we put like a chickpea miso into it, so it's got a sweet note, with black and white sesame and a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, and a rainbow seaweed powder. We have a chili blend, which is again not togarashi, and I make a very conscious decision not to make togarashi because that's what everyone knows about. But our seaweed chili have chili powder, chili flakes, but a bit of sumac and a bit of black pepper in it. So you've got like a peppery aftertaste, which is really, really nice to put on like soups and stews and pizza and pasta. And the last one is a rainbow seaweed salt. So again, on the market, there's a lot of seaweed salt where you put seaweed back into salt, but dietitians had on seaweed is a great salt substitute. So it doesn't make sense to put seaweed back into salt. So then the salt that we use is a sodium reduced salt. So then the whole thing is a lot of people are finding ways to cut down salt in their diet, which is detrimental to our health and heart health and blood pressure and so forth. So I want to create a product where people know that they need to cut down on salt, but they don't want to cut down on saltiness. So this is a really good alternative that will still give you the flavor, give you the saltiness without compromising flavor.
I love it. And every flavor sounds too yum. Actually, I couldn't eat anything today, so you make me hungry now.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
So for your future plan, I know that you already succeeded, congratulations. But for the
Thank
future
you.
plan, what do you want it to do? What's your, goal and what do you want it to achieve?
Yeah, well, this year we really want to, and I don't know whether you got the same experience with your brand. Is seaweed to a lot of people is still a little bit foreign. When you thought about seaweed, they think about those slimy things at the beach, or they think about sushi. So it is a big, I guess, education piece. And I realized that putting it in like a seasoning, it's quite a slow moving category. So you need a lot of education, a lot of, it would take me a long time until we get to where we are. But seaweed is also a premium ingredient for chef and hospitality to use, and also an up and coming ingredients for, you can incorporate into a lot of product as well. So we are trying to grow those channels, maybe have some new product as well that people are already familiar with the format, but it's just, adding seaweed flavor into it so then they can get the flavor and also get the nutrition, as well as growing maybe like the food service part.
Mm. But how do you educate them? Because like you already reached the 200 shops, and then of course like the buyer they're like more gourmet. They pretty understand about the seaweed benefit, but
Yeah.
do you like try to educate for the end customers? Because only putting on the
Oh,
shop, it doesn't make sense. We need to sell the product, right? Do you have any?
yes.
Yes, exactly. So what do you do in the Australia market right now?
Well, actually, that was the question that I would ask you because it looks like you're doing an amazing job. That is, by all means, the most challenging thing to do. Getting on shelf, to be honest, is not the hardest part, and anyone would tell you that because if you have an innovation product, if you have a good concept, people will willing to give it a go. But it's the consumer. Do they get it? So I think that is the $1 million question. So we are still, learning what is the best way. But we're doing, with our limited budget, doing things like influencer reach out, doing in-store sampling, making sure that our social media had enough education, information, and yeah, I think, and then paid ads and that sort of stuff, advertising, and yeah, I think that's probably the main thing. Get chef behind the brand. That might be that would be a good one as well. So it's not easy, but we're just trying everything now to get the education piece out. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. So the lucky thing our company was like we have super stunning product for the candy. And to be honest, we're more like a ingredient side company. We mostly cooperate
Mm,
with a finished product, such as like of course food and beverage. We also cooperate with a medical company to create the medical capsules as well. That's why
yep.
we our main business is a kind of a B2B slash we have a tons of IP
Mm,
several product such as like plastic alternative. That's also our IP as well.
wow.
So
Oh, wow. That's so
yeah,
cool.
thank you. So the reason why we're doing the finished product is again to educate people. We need to like
Yep.
show the proof, and then people in the most of the globally they don't understand how to use what's the benefit. That's why we're doing a
Yes.
finished product with candy and then also the beverage brand soon. But
Mm,
yes, I feel you. Just putting on the shelf is nothing. Like I don't
no.
have to say nothing. It's like it's of course it's a lot of like happiness, but
Yes.
educate people and then try to push people to use them is tough too. So what we
Yeah.
do is we actually have our own contents creator team in-house in our company.
Mm.
And we post like, at least like six types of the video a day in so many platforms.
6 videos a day. Oh my goodness. That's
So
impressive.
thank you. So we adjust with individual, platform and like these videos for TikTok, these video for
Mm.
Instagram, these video for YouTube,
Wow.
because every platform has the different preference. So in
Mm.
the past we try to just copy and paste to the other platform, but it doesn't work. So now we have six videos a day in like a different platform. But of course,
Yeah,
as a
wow.
company, we cannot put a lot of money on there. So we try
Mm.
to tweaking a little by little and then use it over
Yes.
on the platform. Yes.
And do you find that quite effective? Because I know that you've got like a massive TikTok following and,
Thank you.
Insta. Like, I would love to learn how do you build that because
Thank you.
that's
We
so
have 1
impressive.
million followers in TikTok right now. And through the
Oh my
TikTok, we actually cooperate
God.
with Kim K and Service Suites at the Oscar Emmys pre-event. We were at that moment, we were the only Asian bidder over there. So yes, we had a great traction over there. But
Wow.
thank you. But the point is I guess one of the biggest like the thing is we try not to educate people. This is a seaweed base. That was the biggest thing, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yes.
That's why here comes the marine plant base. If we said seaweed, people are gonna say, it's fish.
Oh, he's
Yes.
slimy.
That's why I think we shall use a marine plant base as a common word. Because marine
Yes,
plant
yes,
base,
yes.
if you hear that word, it sounds oh, it feels
Oh, what is it?
exactly. And then sounds like nutrition, cool idea. So we're not gonna take any, we just take the how to say trademark in just in case to protect because I don't want it to
Yes,
use it. But
yeah.
it doesn't mean that you cannot use it. No, it's just protection for somebody manipulate us and we don't want it to do that. So
Mm, mm,
it's gonna be an open word that we're happy everybody gonna use as a marine plant base. So the way
mm.
that people feel like, oh, it's a nutrition future, oh, it's sustainable, oh, it's good for society, oh, let's do it. We wanted to make
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
That's why
Yes.
we're here to cooperate together.
Yeah, and I heard recently there was a company in Europe where they use seaweed to make tuna, like seaweed tuna. So it's plant-based tuna. And like in that podcast, she was saying the same thing, you know, at the start when they launch it and say this is a seaweed-based tuna, no one buys it. Once they got that out of the name and just say this is a plant-based tuna, it just happened to one of the ingredients of seaweed, like they changed the whole messaging and it works so much better. And this is a European company where, you know, people are not used to eating seaweed. So it was like, you know, to your point about, okay, well, people have this conception like of seaweed as being something that is not, it's got a negative association to it. But yeah, changing it and you know giving it a better name, giving it a sexier name, that or even just not mention about it and just sort of say what the product is and then go, oh, what is it, what's in it, and then get people hooked into the brand and then tell them, oh, actually it's seaweed based, and we're like, ah, okay, that might be a better sell.
Right. And also I think that one of the problem of the seaweed industry is mostly it's too fishy. Seriously.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
that's why we actually create our own IP that you don't feel any fishiness, just the ingredients.
mm,
Fishing.
yes.
So on that point, you don't feel any fishiness, saltiness. It's, for example, our candy is just a candy, or
Yes.
beverage, you're gonna feel just a fruit juice. That's the point.
Mm, yeah.
So in the
Yeah.
future, if you wanted to use any, new seaweed powder, we're always here. Please think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, I will.
Oh, please. But the point is, I wanted to, educate people. There's so many opportunity that even, not just for the sushi, not just for the, I don't know,
Mm,
nori or kind of that.
mm,
There's massive opportunity that we can use for everywhere. So that's the
yeah.
thing. We wanted to re-educate the customer outside seaweed. That's we're doing.
Mm,
All
yeah.
right.
No, excellent.
Thank you. For sorry, I talked too much. This is the
No,
opportunity
no,
for you,
okay.
but I'm like, I love, this kind of a conversation. So I cannot
Yeah.
stop. So for we only have like 2 more minutes. So could you, for the last, comment, do you have anything that you wanted to tell to our listener or readers? Do you have any message for them?
Well, if you are sort of on the verge of wanting to try seaweed but not so sure, I would say just, you know, jump on it. Like as I said to your point, that seaweed is not just in sushi. You can incorporate it in literally everything. We have got a seaweed chocolate that we use like a handmade chocolate and with like, you know, seaweed sprinkle on it. It works really well. So, you know, just be open-minded and try it. And lastly, if you want to find our product, I know that we're based in Australia, but you can access it on our website, which is algseaweed.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and yeah, don't be afraid to reach out as well.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for the time, and I cannot wait to meet you in the future.
Yeah, are you coming to any plan to come to Australia at all, Alicia?
I wish I could go to Australia, but when I was kids, I've been so many times for the diving, scuba diving.
Oh,
So,
really? Yeah, nice.
but thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.